Considering the 5 options of the organizational structures, in this lecture we are going to see the divisional one. The divisional structure is the main and typical alternative to the functional one. The divisional structure is a structure in which people are organized because they work on the same final output, that could be a product, a geographical area, or a market. For this reason, in terms of grouping criteria, an output approach is preferred. Thereby, units at the first level of the organizational chart are identified grouping people that have similar goals or similar final purpose, and these are called divisions or business units. To figure out an organizational structure organized per business units, you need to imagine to have a company into a company, because all the functions are duplicated identically for all the output categories. For example, in a fashion company, you could expect to have the clothing business units with production department, purchasing department, commercial department at the second level. Then there is the accessory business unit with the same departments at the second level. Then the jewel and fragrance business unit with the same departments too, and so on. Staff units could be present as well, and this could be put at the business unit level, so are specific for the single output, or sometimes are centralized for the overall company. In a divisional structure, each business unit is highly autonomous in taking main decisions about its final output. Thereby, considering coordination mechanism, output standardization is definitely the most relevant one. Business unit directors are provided with clear output goals and budget, and they are in charge that people working in their units are performing in the right way to achieve them. As a matter of fact, to achieve this purpose is very challenging because business unit directors have a high managerial span of control, given that people realize a huge number of activities, highly variegated per nature as well as complexity. This kind of organization is mainly used to pursue effectiveness goals. As a matter of fact, grouping together people that are working on the same output is increasing the focus on the final purpose, exploiting all the opportunities of the specific output because people have an in-depth focus on that, and synergies as well as sharing of ideas and experience among people on the single output is strongly fostered. The keywords for this organizational chart are ability to adapt and speed in the response time. For the former, because the output focus allows to be able to quickly react to changes in the external environment, such as regulations or customers' requests. For the latter, because this approach of company into the company entails that the level of bureaucracy into the single business unit is pretty low, and so the structure is flexible enough to guarantee a sharing of ideas among people and identification of a solution very quickly. On the other hand, some cons could be highlighted as well. First of all, this organizational structure is poorly oriented to efficiency because some functions are duplicated more and more in the organization, and so the final number of people dedicated to single activity is generally higher. Moreover, due to the high diversification of activities, it is barely possible to pursue economy of scales or economy of scope. This is exaggerated by the use of different competencies and technical tools in each unit. Moreover, the level of coordination and coherence between different units could be quite low, with the risk of low integration and coherence among businesses. An example of typical problems might be a misalignment between presentation of a brand in different countries, for example, a high-quality, high-price brand in Europe, but a medium-quality, low-price brand in US. In order to counterbalance pros and cons of the divisional area, a key decision pertains to the right division among units. Business units should be big enough in terms of volume to justify dedicated resources, but also similar enough in terms of production, sales, marketing, etc., to justify the choice to be managed together. For example, considering the fashion company mentioned before, jewelers and fragrance could be put together because, on the one hand, as standalone units do not have sufficient volumes to justify the investment. On the other hand, both of them are sold through dedicated multi-brand stores and are managed through licenses. Considering this graph, in case A, the split from functional to divisional units would entail a big increase in terms of cost, though not validating this choice. On the contrary, in case B, the higher volumes justify that choice with a better focus compensated by just a small increase in terms of cost. In which situation is a divisional organizational structure preferred? As a matter of fact, it is adequate to quite complex contexts where the number of variables to take into account is very high. This is the typical organization structure used by companies that perform in the past a product diversification, entering in very different businesses with a few synergies each other. Moreover, this is often the organizational structure adopted by multinational companies that have the need to develop a standalone organization in each of their operating country. Finally, this is often used also in those businesses where the characteristics of customers are strongly different. A food company, for example, could have as customers the big retail stores, the small shops with a proprietary into small cities called normal trade, the wholesalers distributing their products in the geographical areas, and finally big restaurants and catering services called HoReCa. Each of these customer groups is relevant for the company but has totally different characteristics and so needs a strategic focus on it.